Hello, good evening, netizens. And to the other part of the world, good morning and good noon. Welcome to our institution, the Institute of Global Professionals, and welcome to an international free webinar. To our lovely spectators, thank you all for joining in this wonderful evening. Today, I am your host for the evening, Miss Tel, a faculty development personnel from Philippines. My dear audience, I am pleased and thankful to be part with IGP's endeavor, and that I am grateful and privileged to be your host in this webinar. In this spectacular evening, it is my pleasure and humble request to all our viewers to stay with us till the end of this webinar because I am sure we will have important takeaways from this meeting for free. And everyone, you are welcome to like and comment in our webinar on any social media. And don't forget to tag, share, and mention your friends in the comment box. So, let's journey together with essential learning from global leading professionals because this innovation inspires great impact. And once again, I am Miss Tel from Philippines, a faculty development personnel, a core volunteer, a mother, a student, and a knowledge seeker. So to start with, let me tell you about IGP because every day new participants linked in. So, the Institute of Global Professionals' mission is to empower all communities through its people by enhancing everyone's learning, and we have a lot of partners. IGP serves students and community resource, providing a holistic social work and education to create a proficient generation. We are entrusted with the international standard of recognition, and we make it get at able to use every knowledge pursuers to originate a personality that is more determined, that have ambition, confident to face any circumstance, and established own skills. The Institute of Global Professionals believe that it's not effective to increase one's skills just by obtaining formal education. So, we provide effective training and consultation to produce a proficient generation all over the world. And today, IGP is leading online skill development institute with thousands of learners worldwide. And also, we organize our webinars, trainings, offline and online courses with our best trained speakers and coaches from all over the world to produce a best learning platform for you all. And with that, we have already completed 281 webinars successfully. And we expect that everybody will benefit in this webinar in personal and professional life. Likewise, we wish that you will be with us in this voyage till the end. And let me remind you again, don't forget to share, tag, comment, and mention your friends in the comment box because your support inspires us to do better in providing the best service for you every day. Again, a warm welcome to you all. With that, let's start our program with IGP's mantra. Feed your skills and with our 281st webinar entitled Research Questions in Linguistics. At this point, I would like to introduce our speaker, Ma'am Tanima Anand. Ma'am Tanima Aman. Ma'am Tanima Anand, Assistant Professor of the GND University at Amritsar, India. She is also a research scholar at SMD University, Katra, India. Hello, ma'am.
Hello,
Mom.
Miss Hare.
Hello,
Good
Mom. Good
evening.
evening. With that, Mom, the viewers are yours. Welcome.
Thank you so much for this nice opportunity that you have provided me. And I'm really elated and thrilled to have joined IGP as a speaker. And I welcome this opportunity and really respect all the viewers for joining me and sharing this knowledge with me.
With that, Mom, we are very pleased to be with you tonight. And the viewers are yours, Mom. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
So I'm just about to share my screen.
Yes, Mom.
Yeah. So is the screen visible? Miss Hell,
Okay,
can you
Mom.
see my screen?
Yes, Mom, I can see it.
Okay.
Okay, you can take
So
it
shall I
away.
take it from here?
Yes, Mom.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone. The title of today's presentation is Research Questions in Linguistics. Although I have uh, made this topic a little general in approach, but obviously it will focus upon some perspectives of linguistics so that the scholars which are especially working in language studies and linguistics might be able to identify what are the niche and the core areas in which we can develop our research questions. And this presentation takes that research questions appropriately designed and worded are the key to any good empirical research project. Starting with why we need them, I explore where they might come from and propose different types of research questions. They, of course, need to be operationalized, and the presentation which I'm going to show to you today, share with you today, explores the implications of different types of research questions for data, data collection, and analysis. Equally importantly, research questions need to be explicitly documented in terms inter alia of their origin, rationale, and implementation. And the presentation looks at how and where this might be done. Research questions are discussed throughout this presentation with a specific eye on linguistic studies, exemplified using linguistic research, and there is a focus on linguistic data and analysis. So, the first topic which I'm going to discuss with you is very basic and very fundamental, which I am sure that every scholar goes through in mind when he or she starts his or her research project. That why do we need research questions? And in this presentation, I have made a short form of research questions like RQs. So, if anywhere you see RQs, that means research questions. So the first things first comes is research questions are the key to any empirical research project. Without research questions, you will flounder. With them, you will be guided in terms of data collection methods, data needed, and data analysis. Ask yourself, what do I need? And the answer is that which best enables me to answer my research questions. Then again ask yourself, how do I analyze it in a way which allows me to address my research questions, and so on. This is because a piece of empirical research is normally designed to address one or more research questions, the answers to which should constitute a contribution to knowledge. In the social sciences, empirical research very often employs explicit research questions. If you're about to conduct empirical research, first ask yourself, what am I trying to find out in my research project? If you can answer this, you have the basis for a research question. Many of us go into a research project with our ideas in general and our research questions in particular rather broadly formulated. Alternatively, our research questions may be precisely formulated, but we may discover erroneous at the start of a project. Neither may be too much of a problem because a research question should not straitjacket you. Rather, you can see it as an initial direction, like a compass point whose needle is swinging continuously. Further down the line, you may find that issues come up with are come up which are interesting and relevant, but which do not address your research questions. That is, which answer questions have you not asked? If these do not require new data, you may wish to consider adding a new research question. At some point, however, your research questions need to stabilize. You may be used to the term hypothesis rather than research questions. Many a times during my research period, when I was an active researcher, my fellow scholars and my fellow students whom I have taught in these past years, they ask me questions like, ma'am, is there any difference between hypothesis and research questions? Aren't they the same? Can we not use just hypothesis and just use research questions, or can we just use hypothesis and not the research questions? This is a very common question which I have visited in the past few years of my research. But let me tell you, hypotheses are more characteristic of the natural than the social sciences. While hypotheses and research questions are directly related, hypotheses tend to be more precise. A hypothesis is conventionally worded as a statement which is to be investigated and proved or disproved through empirical studies. Hypotheses are also perhaps more characteristic of quantitative than qualitative research. Research questions, however, are characteristic of qualitative research and are likely to be both broader and more exploratory than hypotheses. A set of research questions should be formulated in ways which allow the identification and investigation of further issues that only doing the research can bring to light. Ask yourself, are they open enough to allow for the degree of exploratory inquiry I require? Will they allow me to generate further questions at a later stage in the light of my developing data analysis? Should I wish? A set of research questions should not be too general, vague, or multidimensional, and should be able to reply to those questions which we have discussed just now. So the next topic which comes is, where do research questions comes from? What is the genesis of research questions? How do we find research questions? Do Should we find them ourselves, and should we take some help from the external resources? This is a very common confusion which has been visited by many of the research scholars and my students who are doing MA dissertations, PG dissertations. So the very common answer, the first very common and very broad answer to this question is the literature. In the process of reading and of writing a literature review around your topic, the first thing is you might come across a suggestion for an unanswered research question. However, do check that it has not in fact been addressed, and indeed that as a question it is both worthy of investigation. Is it interesting? Is it original? And most of all, it is it operationalizable? The second is you might decide to replicate someone else's work. This is very common in literature and linguistic practices, perhaps to challenge it, perhaps within a different or particularly interesting context, or perhaps to use a different form of analysis on the same or related data. This area can also suggest some of the research questions which you can use in your present research. The third is you might identify a niche in the research literature, that is, something related to your topic has been asked, but something else has not. The advantages of arriving at research questions through a literature review are that the questions will be well grounded in existing research. There will be a coherence between the literature review and the rest of the thesis. The second source from where the research questions come from is a pre existing topic, which then drives the literature review. For example, you may have identified a recent and unpredictable political, social, or natural event which sheds light on our understanding of a particular social concept. You may have identified an interesting linguistic phenomena or development which is still yet to be discovered or researched, and you can also find your research questions from them. A third possible source of a research questions which we tend to ignore is that it comes out of our own findings. Your data may suggest answers to research questions that you didn't ask. Hopefully, you will be able to ask them now of that data, as long as this does not destabilize, divert, or unacceptably increase the workload of your entire research project. If it can be addressed without dilution or compromise, then there is no reason why a new research question cannot be introduced and its genesis incorporated into the story of the research project in question. We can also consider the possibility of some data being hypothesis generating and some hypothesis testing, in which hypothesis can be replaced by research question. If we take in consideration diary studies, that might be hypothesis generating, in that the preoccupations documented in the diaries may suggest or generate research questions. These research questions can then be tested or at least empirically addressed. When asked what their research question is, it's surprising how many novice researchers actually provide a topic. Because many of the times people don't understand the thing that a research question is actually a question and should be worded as an interrogative. So rather than providing a research question, researchers tend to provide a topic, but they should understand that research question is not a topic, although it grows out of a topic. Some people might consider an intellectual puzzle as a basis for their research. You may be drawing on your own experience and informed hunches. For example, as a teacher, you might feel that exercises from a certain textbook always go down better with the students than exercises from a different textbook, and you're curious to find out why. The answer to this question would have implications for classroom text and pedagogy beyond the particular teaching situation. Both the research topics and intellectual puzzles need translating into appropriate research questions. And why have I chosen the topic and the intellectual puzzle? Because they are formulated, they can be translated into research questions through careful formal expression, including in terms of accurate, appropriate, and productive interrogative wording. Now, this is a very interesting topic, and we should look at it into a thorough perspective, because these types of research questions might relate to our present research topics, and they might help us to develop our research questions into actual questions and not hypotheses. The research questions, first of all, are formulated as interrogatives by using do, what, how, why. Other research questions might also start with other helping verbs and interrogatives like is or are, when, where, who, or to what extent. These interrogatives suggest different sorts of research questions where when, how, where, what, is or are, do or does, and to what extent may be descriptive. Why is clearly explanatory. You need to consider carefully what you want to ask and the sequence. It may not be possible to address one research question without having answered a previous one. For example, in many research projects, research question 1 might be descriptive and research question 2 might be explanatory, in the sense that research question 1 maybe start with the above discussed interrogatives like do, what, how, and the research question, which is explanatory in nature, might start with why does. So, the major types of research questions which I have included in my presentation are as follows. The first distinction is primary versus secondary. Quite simply, some research questions might be more important than others, as we all know, in terms of the focus of the study or simply the quality and or quantity of data collected, selected, or elicited to address a given research question. The second distinction is main versus contributory. It may not be possible to answer your main research question until an earlier contributory research question has been asked. For example, a contributory research question such as does X happen allows two further alternative main research questions to be addressed. For example, if X happens, why might this be? And if X does not happen, why might this be? So the thing is, first we have to answer the main questions which are a little narrower in scope, and then collectively they can then contribute to answer the above stated contributory question which has a little broader scope. The third distinction is overarching versus subordinate. This is a very common type of research question because we generally segregate our research questions into overarching and subordinates, in which two or more research questions might be grouped hierarchically under a higher one, which together they address. For example, if we look at the questions given below, you will find that the overarching research question is a little broader in scope and cannot be answered particularly without any help of the following stated subordinate research questions. The overarching research question is like, what are some differences in the way a given political event is reported in newspaper X and newspaper Y? Now, these differences can be many, and we can segregate and bifurcate these differences into various types. So it is almost not practical to answer this kind of overarching research questions without involving the help of some subordinate research questions which are a little narrower in scope. Like the first subordinate research question is, how are the social actors in each newspaper report nominalized? So this is a very narrow scoped question in which we can just focus upon one topic, and this topic can ultimately contribute to the solution of the overarching research question. Similar is the case with subordinate research question 2, which which asks which report uses a great proportion of agentless passive verb constructions. So if you see, the first overarching research question is very general, and it might not suggest a linguistic approach to be followed in answering this question. But if we look at the subordinate research question 1 and 2, you may see that these are very narrow in scope and in turn focus their attention towards the linguistic approach of the solution of the research question, which is overarching. So if we look at subordinate research questions one or two, they might help us to get a broader answer to the overarching research question. So, by looking at this example, we can see that the overarching question cannot be operationalized as it stands, but can be operationalized through the two subordinate research questions. The next distinction is empirical versus methodological versus theoretical research questions. While your research questions will probably be largely aimed at producing empirical findings, you may also be interested in the investigative process itself, which might be methodological. Don't feel that you must have a methodological research question. However, if you are doing something innovative or otherwise interesting methodologically, for example, combining two approaches which are not usually combined, this constitute an intellectual contribution of your study. If so, it may be worth promoting this aspect of your methodology to the status of a research question. Theoretical research questions are likely to refer both to theoretical concepts and their deployment in empirical research. The next distinction is not so common, but it should be kept in mind that some questions might be researcher generated and some questions might be participant generated as well. Of course, we all know that almost all research questions are researcher generated, but this also begs the question of the role of your research participants. The researcher should ask not only what are the research questions, but also who decides what the questions will be. And can participants add their own questions? Someone doing research for their master's dissertation or PhD thesis may have less space to explore the possibility of research for participants than a researcher who has received a grant to do exactly that. However, MA or PhD researchers are often not accountable to a grant awarding body, and this may be precisely the time when they can consider how to work with research participants and perhaps how to address those participants' own concerns. The next distinction is empirical versus speculative, and this is very easy to understand. We all know what is empirical is. The why questions may need to be speculative rather than empirical, perhaps informed by the answers to empirical questions. So these are the kind of distinctions I have noted down, I have shared with you in these presentations, and as the above set of distinctions suggests, your research questions can and should constitute a coherent whole that is be explicitly related to each other. The thing which is to be kept in mind is that the sequence as well as the hierarchy of the research questions is very important. Most obvious, there might be two research questions, the first being descriptive, the second being explanatory, or alternatively, an overarching question may not be itself be operationalizable, but may be operationalized via two or more subordinate research questions. So, the relationship between the research questions should be clear to a researcher to allow a reader as well as a visitor to see what it is you are trying to do in your research project. But uh, but this sort of organization is also important for you as a researcher. Once you have created this coherent structure, you will be able to see if some of your research questions are basically the same and hence should probably be combined, or if one is in fact a sub research question of another. So, this is very important to understand that a researcher himself or herself should understand what research questions they are formulating, what kind of researcher generated or participant generated questions they are formulating, what should be the sequence of the research questions, what should be the hierarchy of the research questions. It should not be the case that research questions should look like each other so that the research might look faulty to the readers. So these are the things which one should keep in mind. The other thing which is to be kept in mind is the final points about the wording of research questions. The first thing is every content word in a research question matters. Because to operationalize your research question, you will know exactly what each word is to mean as far as your research project is. Because the research question should supplement your research, should connect with your research and should help you operationalize your research to a very satisfactory manner. Secondly, and more generally, Mason 2002 reminds us that we should ask of ourselves some research questions. Would anyone but me understand them? It is crucial that the answer is yes, especially if aspects of your study are to be replicable. If you think that someone can replicate your research, someone can criticize your research or share your topic with somebody else, then you should understand that you yourself as a researcher should understand the research questions as well as the topic. If others cannot understand your research questions, it is okay, but it is worth considering whether they are in fact formulated in a way which is clear enough for you to address them properly. If you address your research questions properly, if you can explain your research questions properly, then there is no need to worry about your research questions, because at least one part of the research questions of your understanding is appropriately satisfied. The next thing is operationalizing research questions. Now we have already discussed about what are research questions, where do they come from, what are the types of research questions. Now the last things comes is how to operationalize our research questions. Are they practically satisfactory? Are they practically applicable to our research project? So, for an empirical research question to be operationalizable, there must be a way of addressing it in terms of identifying the appropriate data, collecting and analyzing it. Often there are indications of how to do this in the research question itself. For example, as we have seen, a research question like what reasons do French teachers working in UK primary schools give for the teaching of French to year 6 primary school children? So, this is the kind of a question which I have selected for the example of the operationalizability of research question. This suggests that the researcher would elicit data. For example, he or she might ask teachers a set of interview questions or questionnaire which together properly analyzed would address this research question. Note, though, that the words what reasons do they give constitute an important reminder that we cannot get at people's actual reasons directly from what they say. At best, these are reported beliefs, the beliefs they give. This has implications for the interpretations of findings and the strengths of the claim that can be made. So, I hope this presentation is understandable to you, and we are open for discussion till now. And I would direct my attention to the host for this presentation. Thank you very much for this brilliant opportunity, and we look forward to learn and grow together. Thank you.
Thank you for your topic, Mom. So we're waiting for the questions.
Yes.
Thanks, Mom Tanima Anand from India.
Welcome. Welcome,
Mom, your
ma'am.
research questions, your types of RQs, the primary, the main, contributory, overarching, and subordinate, and so on. How to operationalize RQs, the data analysis. These are the keys that inspires us to research a wide-ranging and more investigative and save us not just time and energy, but also to assess ourselves growth in research linguistics.
Very true. Very
And
true.
really, ma'am, these important keys points us to have the right behavior and attitude to have a prosperous research.
Definitely. And I
And
wish
that's
all of
amazingly
my
inspiring.
listeners, all my
Yes.
presenters, all the best for their future research endeavors. And I might be very thankful to you in providing me such an opportunity so that I could share my knowledge with you. And I look forward for more opportunities like this. Thank you very much.
Yes, mom. We look forward to you and we want to see you again soon.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. It's time for quiz competition. Mom Tanima, we will see you again on our Q&A. So, it's time to move on for our quiz competition. Guys, type in IGP quiz. Okay, let's welcome our joiners for the quiz. Ma'am Maria Veneranda Z. Campos, Sir Giancarlo A. Velonza, Sir Lamberto S. Pilatan Jr., and everybody. Guys, welcome. Once again, welcome Sir Lucardo Jr. O. Magdarao, Sir Cristobal Natividad, Carmela Bihaen, Sir Dennis James, Lamberto S. Pilatan Elias A. Austria, Miss Melanie Obedoza Mara, Sir Alex Javier Alvarez, and Miss Joy Licatan. Welcome, everybody. Cristobal Natividad and Miss Marvic. Okay, we have our first question. An inquiry about an unusual phenomenon leads to discover, is it quantitative methodology or research questions? Is this equal quantitative methodology or research questions? Okay, 82% answered it's a research questions, and it is the correct answer. We have our leaderboard, Miss Farila Rezahi. Diary studies may be hypothesis generating or hypothesis testing. Is it hypothesis generating or hypothesis testing? This is the second question. And 79% answered hypothesis generating. It's the correct answer. And it's Parila Rizahi. Got the first. Third question. If we use an intellectual puzzle as a basis of research, it is an exploratory practice or interrogatory practice. What is your answer, guys? And 82% answered it's an exploratory practice. Well done. That's correct. Let's move on to the fourth question. Leaderboard. It's still Parila Rizahi. Number four question. A careful formal expression of research question includes productive interrogative wording or vague and ambiguous wording. And 89% answered productive interrogative wording. Still at the leaderboard, Parila Rizahi. Fifth question, in the social sciences, empirical research very often employs blank research questions. Is it implicit or explicit? Okay, 49% got it right. We'll move on to the sixth question. question. Research questions are more characteristic of qualitative research or quantitative research. Bigyan mo, cellphone. Oh, baby. All right, 80% got it right. And we have here our seventh question. Research questions allow the blank of issues. Is it reputation or investigation? And 93% got it correct. We'll move on to the eighth question. We have a new leader in the leaderboard. And the eighth question is research questions should not be multidimensional or undimensional, unidimensional. I mean unidimensional. So guys, research questions should not be multidimensional or unidimensional. 62% answered unidimensional, but the correct answer is multidimensional. It is a trick question, I think. And we have Helbert Legaspi at the leaderboard. Our ninth question, which is more precise than the other, hypothesis or research questions? Is it hypothesis or research questions? And 51% answered hypothesis. It is the correct answer. Well done. We have the 10th question. Hypotheses and research questions are not related to each other. Is it true or false? Hypotheses and research questions are not related to each other. Is it true or false? 74% answered false, and it is the correct answer. All right. We are initializing our leaderboard. Congratulations to Marie Gold Alog, Enelita Kitor Villanueva, Farila Rizahi, Helbert Ligaspi, and I can see congratulations to Melanie Obido Samara, Lucardo Jr. O. Madarao, Romel John C. Aquino, Cristobal Natividad, Charles Kaiser Vidal, and Igol Agabalayeva. Congratulations to our top 10 quiz. All right, congratulations, quiz competition winner. Top 10. Later on, I would like to remind everybody again that don't forget to collect your e-certificate after the question and answer. Because after the question and answer, we'll give you the code. Once again, congratulations, Aida Aroza. We have a special gift for you. We noticed that you attend most sessions with us, so we will share a lifetime membership certificate. Okay. So quiz certificate. Hello, welcome once again, Ma'am Tanima.
Thank you, Miss L.
And to our viewers, welcome. This is our question and answer portion. As we wait
Okay,
for our question and answer, once again, I would like to invite you to share this live webinar in any social media that you have: Facebook, LinkedIn, and so on. We would also like to note that there is no relation between quiz completion certificate and international webinar certificate. Quiz certificates for top 10 quiz competition winners, international webinar certificates for all active participants. So, we will wait for our first question.
yes.
Once again, congratulations, top 10 in today's quiz competition winners.
Okay, so I think we have got our first question, and it's by Charles Vidal. And he's asking why research questions should not be multidimensional. Okay. So, as I was discussing with you previously about overarching and subordinate research questions, so our research questions should be unidimensional because they should be in narrow scope so that they help us to supplement our research. If our research questions would be multidimensional, we would flounder, we would not concentrate on one certain topic. So it is important for us to decide which are the main research questions, which are the contributory research questions, which questions are having a broader scope, which questions are having a narrow scope, which questions should be answered first so that they should supplement that information to a greater research question. So that is why we generally suggest researchers to use those kind of questions which are narrower in scope so that we can focus our research into one particular area, and then we can collaborate all the information, and then we draft our hypothesis. Because hypothesis, if turned into a research question, would obviously be multidimensional, because we can have multiple research questions but we generally have one or two hypotheses for our research. So that is why it is suggested that research questions should be unidimensional and not multidimensional. That because if they will be they will be multidimensional, they will be vague, they will be ambiguous, and they will flounder our research from here and there, and we will not focus upon where we want to reach and what result we want to achieve. So yeah,
Thank you, man, for that systematic research
welcome.
question answer. Is that okay, Sir Charles Vidal?
We
You
just
can
had
comment
one
on the
question.
comment box if you have another or follow-up question. Do we have another question? It's from Maria Teresa Yambao. Hello, ma'am. What is the ideal number of research questions in a research?
This is a very common question which I have come across in my whole tenure of research. Students as well as fellow research, we always involve ourselves in discussing how many research questions should be there. You know, when we join our research, we are too ambitious and we think our topic should be novice, and we should be involving so much so things in our research. But ultimately we should narrow our research, narrow our perspective, because if we will be too ambitious for our research, then we will not be able to complete it in time, and ultimately eventually what we do is we flounder ourselves, we distract ourselves in formulating the correct research results which we want to achieve. So there is no ideal number of a research question, but I would definitely suggest that if you are drafting just contributory research questions, they should not exceed 5 to 7. And if you are drafting overarching and subordinate research questions, so keep your overarching research questions like 3 to 4, not more than that. And in subordinate research questions, you can include 3 or 4 again in one overarching question, so it will be like 10 to 12 research questions which are very smaller in scope, very narrow in scope, and the research questions which are overarching should not exceed 3 to 4 number. In terms of, I'm talking this in terms of PhD thesis. If again you are doing your master's dissertation or your postgraduate research, then you should again decrease this number, because definitely the time constraint should be kept in mind, the resources should be kept in mind, and the researchers which are doing research in these COVID times, we have other factors to be kept in mind. So don't be too ambitious, don't keep your hopes so high, and don't think that we should be able to cover all these things in a very limited time of frame. So just I would definitely suggest define yourself for your purpose a definite timeline, and then see how many research questions you can answer in 3 months, then in 6 months, then in 1 year. This will definitely help you to achieve a realistic goal and not be very romantic in your approach.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. It will help really save time and energy. Our question number 3 from Shirley Ann Cajes. Ma'am, how to ensure that we will not have unbiased research questions?
Yes, that is why this topic is very nice and very mind-boggling, that we should not be involving unbiased research questions. And for this, definitely there is this thing called literature review. So if you choose any kind of topic, be it in literature, be it in linguistics, we should always do enough survey for the topic. We should always go for the literature which is criticizing it in positive way as well as negative way. And if you will visit or read such literature which would supplement the information against your topic, that will help you to affirm your belief in the topic as much as possible. So that is why literature review is very important, and we should definitely consult our supervisor for that, and we should definitely look for research groups on Facebook, Instagrams. We are living in technology driven world, and we should interact with scholars from throughout the world. And that is why we have such brilliant opportunities, like seminars, webinars, conferences. And we should not hesitate ourselves from discussing our topics, keeping in mind the fact that our topic should be replicated or somebody would steal our topic. No, we are living in a world of knowledge, and we should share our knowledge. And that is why you can share your research questions. Not, I won't say that discuss your research questions as they are. Just discuss your idea of research questions with your fellow scholars, your supervisors, your fellow contributors and listeners, in whichever platform you are. Definitely join some research groups. We have so many research groups on Facebook and Instagram. And then see what are the perspectives of different people. We should always choose a topic which is a little contemporary, so that we can listen to online lectures, or we can listen to online discussions. And definitely we can go through news if that is a political, social, or that kind of an event based topic, so that our research question should not look biased. Because definitely when we start our research, the result is already in our mind. We think that this kind of research is to be uh, achieved at the end of our research. So that is why we do is we make an hypothesis and anti-hypothesis, if you have heard about it. What we do is we have the result in our mind which we think that we will achieve at the end of the research. You try to prove the anti-hypothesis true. You try to prove the opposite of that result true. If the opposite of that research question will be true, that means your research question was biased already, because you know that the opposite is true. If the opposite of that research question, the answer you think would be true, does not come false, then obviously your research question is appropriately formatted. This is what I suggest.
Thank you, ma'am. Let us also remember, guys, that collaboration is the easiest and most fruitful way in terms of research. And we will wait for another question to appear.
Yes.
That's another points from Ma'am Tanima, guys. You can have a lot of notes and key points. Okay, going
Okay, next
once.
question.
Next question, please. Guys, you can ask any questions regarding research questions, linguistics for Ma'am Tanima. This is our chance. This is our chance to help us focus in our research. Okay.
Okay,
Is there any more questions?
that's it. Come on, listeners, throw me some good questions. We can have more discussion.
Okay, guys.
Hello, ma'am. I think there is no more question from our
Yeah.
learners. Yeah. So, ma'am Telma, you can continue
Yes.
with your time. Now this is time for Thanksgiving noting our speaker, ma'am Tanima, and after that we will
Okay.
move for certification process. And as usual, we don't have any code for today. So after your Thanksgiving, we will going to close this program.
Okay.
Okay, sure. So with that, we will move on. And again, Ma'am Tanima, ma'am, I am certain our viewers have acquired and understood so much that helped them improve not only on research, but also improve their skills in professional and in personal. Once
Thank
again,
you so
ma'am, with that,
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you of your shared precious time with us. Thank you,
All my
ma'am.
pleasure. All my pleasure.
Okay, guys. Again, IGP. Everyone is grateful to our speakers today. And thank you so much, dear knowledge trackers. I would like to thank you all for attending today's session. We are confident and positive. You learn something new today, which you will be grasping and applying it to enrich career growth, especially in your life with those key points that help us focus on the research questions in linguistics. And we are confident and positive with that you will use it every day. And don't forget to collect your e-certificate and give a check in with IGP. All right, we will wait for the IGP code in this time. When you collect your e-certificate and give a check in with IGP, celebrate with IGP by the link that we will give you and will be mentioned below on our website www.eduigp.com. We should spread the information with your friends and community in social media. All right. While waiting,
Hello, ma'am Telma. Actually, due to our website issue, we don't have any certification link right now. So just you have to our audience, you have to wait for our announcement, which I already promised to you. That is, when our website will be okay again, then we will post all the previous webinars link with certificate code with in our Facebook page and Facebook group also. So you can collect your certification link and code from our page and group very soon, because I think maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow you will get everything. So thank you
okay.
so much, and I definitely see you again. And we have regular session in the evening, 6 p.m. BST, 8 p.m. Philippine times, and 5:30 IST. So see you again. Thank you, Memtel.
Thank you, sir. We hope to see you all again in this endeavor.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you, everyone. Do I have to sign this off, or you can sign this off,
Yes,
sir?
sure, sure, ma'am. Sure.
Okay, once again, thank you this evening. I am your host, Miss Tel, saying stay joyful, stay safe, stay in learning, and signing off. Goodbye.